The images of Cardinal Burke, celebrating the Tridentine Mass in St. Peter's, have shaken the entire church. The ancient Mass has returned to where it all began, and now no one can pretend it's over. While some bishops attack it and try to extinguish it, others courageously defend it. There's only one question. Will the rite they wanted to erase become the centerpiece of the pontificate? It will remain until the end, because the future of the faith is at stake here. Something no one expected is happening. The traditional Mass, the one many wanted to erase forever, is returning to center stage, not in hidden chapels, not secretly, but in the great basilicas and before thousands of faithful. It's a slap in the face to those who thought they'd closed the deal. In the United States, November will be an explosive month for tradition. 3 major figures in the church are taking the stage. Archbishop Cordileone will celebrate the Old Mass in San Francisco for All Saints' Day. Cardinal Miller will offer it on November the 2nd in Philadelphia, and Cardinal Sarah will lead the prayer at the same U.S. center on November 21st. We're not talking about nostalgics, but bishops who know well what the church risks losing, and the faithful respond. Full churches, young people, large families. In the meantime, however, the real situation is this. In several American dioceses, traditional rites are being limited or even eliminated in favor exclusively of the Novus Ordo. Archbishop Salvatore Cordileone said it without fear. Catholics must know the traditional Mass, not out of nostalgia, but because it contains everything: the silence, the sacrifice, the faith that is unafraid to kneel before God. For years, they've tried to convince us that tradition was an obstacle to be overcome, an ancient memory to be archived. Instead, it's simply who we are. You can't erase the past, says Cordileone. We can only recover lost treasures. And if the church has lost faithful, it's because it has lost those treasures. Now some are beginning to realize this. And when tradition begins to breathe again, progressives panic. Cardinal Blas Kupich, one of the most powerful bishops and closest to Rome's new line, attacked again. According to him, the traditional Mass is a spectacle. The truth? It's quite the opposite. The new rite has been transformed into a show, full of applause and unbridled creativity. Kupich reiterates that the liturgy must first and foremost serve the poor, as if the Mass were not Christ's sacrifice but a social program. In this struggle, there is a clear clash. Those who want God to be at the center, and those who want humanity to be at the center. And to defend this revolution, attempts are being made to erase everything that reminds us of the faith of old. But the real earthquake struck in Rome. Cardinal Raymond Burke brought the traditional Mass back to St. Peter's Basilica, the heart of the Catholic Church. Not in a hidden chapel, not in a basement as they wanted, but before the world, and before thousands of faithful young people, large families, children in strollers, men in suits, women in veils. Everyone crowded together, everyone standing, because there was no more room. And while the secular media tried to downplay the numbers, as they always do when something too Catholic explodes, the reality was there. A human wave that had filled the largest church in the world. Rising incense, profound silence, the priest facing east. Not a spectacle, not a talk show, not a concocted rite. It was the sacrifice, the same as always, the one of the saints. But the image that most rankled progressives was another, standing next to Burke, dressed as a deacon, was Cardinal Matteo Zuppi. Yes, that's right. The man of synodality, the symbol of openness to spiritual trends. For some, it's an attempt at unity. For others, a clever move, placing a man of the new order alongside the ritual they want to contain. A caress with the cameras rolling, and a fist bump in the sacristies. The news agencies tried to ridicule the scene. Priests with their backs turned, women wearing veils, too much incense. They wrote that it was just a group of nostalgics tied to American conservative politics. But one fact remains. When the Mass of all times becomes visible again, it fills. When it is hidden, the Church empties. And this is what frightens those who govern today, because these faithful aren't asking for concessions. They're asking for what belongs to them by baptismal rite. And they do so in the place where Peter rests. No diplomatic gesture can erase what happened that evening. Tradition has returned home, and it has demonstrated that a signature alone is not enough to erase it from history. Here's the fact they won't tolerate. Where the traditional Mass is celebrated, young people stay, families gather, vocations are born. It's simple. In some US dioceses, where the traditional rite has been virtually eliminated, up to 80% of children raised in the new rite abandon the faith as adults. But in places where the ancient Mass lives on, there's talk of 78 to 80% remaining Catholic until the end of their lives. This isn't just partisan chatter, silent statistics that speak louder than slogans. And so, the question is no longer, can we allow the traditional Mass? The question is, can we allow the supernatural strength of the Church to dissolve into rootless innovations? Families know that children without the rite will have no memory. Young people know that without an altar oriented toward God, they will have no heart. And vocations, they remain dormant when the liturgy becomes an event. They emerge when the liturgy is sacrifice. While Cardinal Roche continues to sign documents to limit the ancient rite, something happens that no one had foreseen. The traditional Mass does not retreat. It remains firm, alive, beloved. It does not impose itself through force, but through the loyalty of its children. Every time it is repressed, it re-emerges stronger. Every time they want to lock it away in the sacristy, it finds itself at the center of the great basilicas. It's now clear this isn't about liturgical tastes or nostalgia for the past. The Mass of all time is becoming the true turning point of this pontificate, the thermometer that measures where faith is growing and where it is fading. The Episcopal Conference can close chapels. The faithful will continue to kneel, because tradition survives not thanks to permits, but thanks to grace. And Rome is seeing this day after day. If you appreciate our outreach service and believe in the values of truth and transparency, please purchase a super thank you. Each piece of content requires commitment, study, and dedication, and our work is entirely self-funded. Your support helps us continue this mission. Thank you so much. If you liked the video, comment, Amen. God bless you.